I'm John Parker with Shooting Sports USA, and we got a special treat for you here at the NRA annual meeting. I got the new leadership team at USA Shooting. I got Jim Mitchell, Craig Kozeniesky, and Tracy Barnes. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Now, Jim, we were just talking earlier about new things going on at USA Shooting.
Well, USA Shooting is in the process of sort of reinventing themselves to get a much broader reach in the market and reaffiliating with the National Rifle Association, who originally started USA Shooting back many, many years ago. During the course of time, we sort of drifted in different directions. And at this point, the leadership that we have now is much more interested in affiliating with the NRA once again and developing programs that are beneficial to both NRA and USA Shooting. Our challenges are very great because we compete against over 150 countries around the world. We need as much support as we can get because most of those countries are funded by the governments. And USA Shooting is a very important entity as far as medal achievement in the Olympics itself. And an example would be, for example, the Tokyo Games, where we came to Tokyo in the middle of COVID and brought a very small team, and some of our leading athletes were not available because of COVID. And we were able to deliver 8 medals for the United States, including 3 gold medals, which put the United States ahead of China, both in gold medals and also in medals overall. So that was a very important accomplishment on the part of our team in rather bad circumstances. So our next Olympics, which are next year in Summer Games in Paris, we're on what we call the road to Paris, and we're building on all 4 of our teams, rifle, pistol, shotgun, and para. And we have a very exciting new team of managers, and we're very, very anxious to follow the road, not only through Paris, but also to Los Angeles, which is the Summer Games in 1928.
Yeah.
Or 2028, excuse me.
One of those new managers, or your new top managers sitting right here, new CEO Craig Kozeniesky. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, John, appreciate the opportunity here to tell our story. I got into USA Shooting about 12 years ago when my son became a junior Olympic champion and a shooter on the national team. I got involved with the board about 3 years ago as a committee member and became more and more involved throughout the management process with the team there. Last year, when the opportunity came to compete for the CEO job, I jumped in at it. And so I joined up full-time in January as a CEO, moved to Colorado Springs, and have been working at it ever since. I was active duty military for 28 years with the Marine Corps, and I had, on occasion in between either deployments or trips back and forth throughout the United States, made my way to Colorado Springs. So became quite passionate about USA Shooting, what it represented. When my son started shooting rifle in high school in 2009, her high school had Saturday morning practices at the NRA range in Fairfax, Virginia. So I was working at the Pentagon at the time, working literally from about 5:30 a.m. till about 8:30 p.m. and Monday through Friday. And then I found myself getting up about 4:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings and getting in there for 3 hours a day with our junior team, our high school team. But it paid off, and really that whole atmosphere just permeated our family and also our friends and supporters. And that's how I got involved with USA Shooting.
So you just went full in.
Full in. And, as you look to see, your resource and, support your kids and whatever that they want to do. And he just kept taking it to the next level. And it was really inspiring to see, but it's also inspiring to get in and learn about, the Olympic movement, how USA Shooting fits into the picture as Jim articulated. USA Shooting does play a very, very important role. You look across the history of the United States performance in the Olympics, and USA is up there among the top 3 in medal producers. It's amazing. There's been a long-standing affiliation with the NRA since the early days. The NRA was actually serving de facto as a national governing body until about the mid-90s. The NRA financed and built the Olympic Shooting Center and the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And in 1996, the USA Shooting was formed as a national governing body. So we've had an on and off relationship with the NRA over the years. Obviously, since Mr. Mitchell came on board as a chairman, and I came on board as well, we've rekindled that and taken advantage of some very generous and passionate support from the NRA Foundation from last year, and we're looking forward to taking that to the next level. Not only is there the Paris Olympics next year, but this year there's a lot going on. As Jim said, 150 plus countries involved in international shooting. Every year, there's more and more countries that are hosting more and more events, and it's a great deal. You get a great cultural experience. You get to compete on a world stage. Nothing beats overcoming a pressure situation than participating in training in a pressure situation. So we're finding ourselves traveling more and more. So that's a tax on the team. It's hard on the athletes. We're looking to better resource them. And then this year in particular, not only is it the Pan American Games, but also World Championship. So it's more and more intense as we get into this international cycle.
And things are moving along well, though. We've been winning gold medals. I've been seeing in the news.
We've won almost, I think, about 56 gold medals. There's no country in the world that has won more gold medals in shooting than the United States. We are fully anticipating to continue that streak, believe me.
World Cups, they count for earning quotas into the international competition, and those are hugely important, but they're also important, obviously, for the medal count, but they're important for our athletes. They gain more and more experience, but it also broadens the base of the youth programs, and that's a huge investment program for us, is to look across so many great clubs, ranges, and youth shooting sports programs that are out there in America, and kids that have aspirations for Olympic glory, but kids who don't have much knowledge about that. We're part of this partnership that we're increasing with them in order to broaden that base, get more and more competitive shooters, and bring them up. We have great shooters now, but we're equally enthused with building a great base of shooters across America.
Yeah, partnering with NRA is something that we're, I think, as Craig spoke to, where it's really going to help our youth development and those sorts of things. One of the things that we can align with is just building up shooting sports in the U.S. And look at the NRA Foundation. Their tagline is teach freedom, and that's something for, at least for me. So I was a former Olympic athlete in biathlon, but I started my Olympic career as a shooting small bore prone. But for an Olympic athlete, when I hear teach freedom, for me, that's giving someone the opportunity. And as an athlete, when I just started, if I hadn't have had that opportunity, I would have never risen above the ranks there and made it to the Olympics. And giving someone that opportunity, I think back to one of my favorite Olympic moments when the 1980 hockey team, when they beat the Soviets, Herb Brooks said, "From great moments come great opportunity, and teach freedom is giving a child that opportunity to be able to take it however far they want to, and just presenting them with the world. You can go from here. You have the freedom to be able to go all the way up to win an Olympic medal." So
I think a lot of the passion that our organization has is been related mostly to the fact that, first and foremost, our athletes are sons and daughters of America, and they shoot first and foremost for the flag. Mm-hmm. It's an American thing. When you look at us being out there around the world competing against other countries, everybody wants to meet the Americans. I mean, we're the team that has demonstrated the highest level of competency, and amongst our fellow shooters around the world, we're considered to be the elite, and we want to stay that way. And it's really, I put it this way, if I look at it from the passion that I have for Olympic shooting, is first and foremost, our competitors, our team members, we are basically shooting for America. So we represent the United States, our way of life, who we are. And secondarily, we shoot for the team itself. Even though you may not be lucky enough to win a gold medal, you're happy that somebody else on the team did. So that camaraderie that exists amongst our teams, our rifle, pistol, shotgun, and paraplegic teams is unbelievably strong. And that's why our team has stayed, as strong as it has. And last but not least, the individuals shoot for a medal for themselves and for the glory of winning an Olympic medal, which is a life-changing experience for many people. And I always, again, say at one time when I was interviewed by the Los Angeles Times after Kim Rode won a gold medal in Athens, is that she mentioned that I was one of the people that helped her get there. The interesting thing is I made a comment that, if you won a gold medal in downhill skiing, you'd probably be a millionaire because you had all kinds of sponsors. But Kim won a gold medal and she's still driving a pickup truck with holes in the seat. And there's not a lot of people that have supported us in that end of it because in Olympic shooting, we use very few products that are made in the United States. Most of the guns are made in Europe. They're Parazzis or Krieghoff, so we do get support there. The ammunition that we use in the United States for practice is not the same ammunition we use overseas because we can't bring it there. And then, our firearms themselves are specific to the Olympic events. And with the exception of shotguns, everything else is very, very specific. And so the average American doesn't really understand that the pistol that we use, for example, in shooting is not the average pistol you would buy in a gun store. It's so customized, but it still does the same thing. It's still shooting it to a target. And it was not that many years ago I was shooting with the team. I'm not a very good shooter, but I'm okay. And I shot the pistol most of the times I think every time I hit the bullseye, the block of the target. And I turned to the athlete that I was working with and I said, well, I should be on the team. And they said, no, you wouldn't make it because every one of those shots should have been touching each other. So your score would have been pretty close to zero. So it just gives you an idea of how competitive it is. It really, really is it is competitive. And it's having been just over in Egypt recently and watching our team perform over there, you go look at the competition and how serious they are, and they all want to beat us. And we came out of that event in good shape, and we're continuing to win a lot of medals. I think maybe you could mention how strong our team is right now.
Right. We have, we're competing in some World Cup series that are leading up into the World Championships and, of course, the Pan American Games. And, of course, in between that, we're doing our own national championships and our selection processes. So we have our shotgun team has been out and winning. I believe that we're up to 6 total medals in the last 3 World Cups, including 3 gold, 2 silver, and a bronze. Our rifle team has also been doing quite well on the women's air rifle side. We have 2 great athletes that have been making finals in just about every one of the World Cups they've been involved with, and we've been pulling in some good medal counts from the Egypt to the most recent World Cup in Cyprus. But I think what Jim mentioned before, it's pretty extraordinary that we're able to maintain this high level of performance on the budget that we have in the United States. Not just rifle. Well, I mean, not just shooting, but all the national governing bodies of all the sports, winter and summer Olympic sports, receive no government funding from the United States. For example, India, one of our chief competitors in shooting, particularly in rifle and pistol, receive between 40 and 45 million US dollars equivalent every year for their team. Their national athletes are celebrities, like in cricket, nationally televised. In fact, they actually cover our athletes to a degree of a celebrity over there that exceeds what we see in the United States. So this is a great way, to partner with a storied institution of the United States like the NRA, so we can get that word out as well. It's a great honor to have actual competitive, accomplished Olympians here on our staff as well that maintain that same type of focus and passion in order to support these athletes. And then just, talk about the goodness and the responsibility of shooting sports in the United States and how that type of accomplishment can be reflective of responsible gun ownership and usage. And the United States, USA shooting, has a very narrow advocacy within the firearms community, the shooting sports community within the United States. But we have interests in, the Practical Shooting Association, for example, other types of competitive leagues and clubs that are out there, especially that do compete on the world stage in different types of competitions that aren't necessarily an Olympic sport. So promoting in our, fellow competitive formats and promoting USA as a winner is definitely what we're all about.
So we want to raise the flag.
We definitely want to raise a flag. We want to keep the flag up, and we want to sweep the.
And if money is the biggest obstacle right now, it's like you're saying, how can people help?
Well, there's different ways. If you look across the whole Olympic movement, every organization in the Olympics has their own fundraising platform, simply because all of those different organizations are amateur. So they don't have, any sponsorships except what they can raise themselves. So in the case of our organization in particular, one of the things we're looking at is sort of a positioning as we go forward, first and foremost, of increasing the number of members that we have of USA Shooting, just like NRA has a membership group. And those members are critical to the long-term survival of the organization. NRA relies on 5 million dues-paying members to build the magnificent programs that they have. And our membership has been very, very much related to friends and family of Olympians, or people that are trying to be Olympians or competing. So our numbers are very small compared to some of the other Olympic venues. So we're going to try very much with combining our performance with NRA and other organizations like that to enhance that membership, to build it. So those people that are members are essentially some of the people we raise funds for, because they support us in different ways. And hundreds and hundreds of people giving us $20, $30, $50 a year can make a big difference in what we have available. Just for example, with airfare, in the last couple of years, our airfare has gone up astronomically. We have our team right now today in Paris training over there where the Olympics next year are going to be. And we have to fly all those people over there, our coaches, put them in hotels. It's very expensive. Mm-hmm. And we have no control over the cost of that. And what a lot of people have to realize is that because we're funding ourselves, we have to have a much broader base in order to compete, because the countries are out to beat us, especially China, certainly India, Korea. We get competition everywhere. And these athletes that work in those and work for these other countries are essentially employed by those governments to compete against us. I mean, it's a totally different venue or avenue, I would say. So that's one important step. The second would be to raise additional awareness of what we do and how we do it, and get some of the corporate sponsors across the country. The shooting sports industry in the United States is a $50-60 billion industry. And to date, we've had almost no contributions from that industry to our program, which is almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
But, we have to dig into that market, and we're starting to do that and get help. And we've also affiliated with other organizations that are like-minded to us. Mm-hmm. We have some support from a couple different foundations, like the Midway USA Foundation, and the Potterfield family itself. And these are all very philanthropic groups. At the end of the day, we have to learn more, better on how to raise our own money, okay, because we can't depend on anybody else. And we're setting up the core elements to make sure that happens in the future. And we've been successful in the last couple of months, and we plan to continue down that road.
I think there's a lot of value in supporting the Olympic movement, and I think a lot of people in the industry are starting to see that. As Olympic shooting, we're one of the only places in mainstream media during the Olympics where you get to see any type of shooting sport, and whether we like it or not, we need that mainstream to be able to view what we do, and especially in a positive light. So I think there's immense value to that, and it provides good stories and motivation and inspiration to not only people within our industry, but people all across the world.
People want to see Vincent Hancock and Amber English on the Today Show after they win their gold medals.
Absolutely. So if the audience, that we're talking to today is interested in supporting USA Shooting, you can go to our website, and the website is
usashooting.org.
Very simple. And you can become a member of USA Shooting, and you'll have a small goodie bag of things, and you'll be able to follow us through the World Cups and all the way through into the Olympics. And we have different press releases, magazines, highlighted programs with different athletes. And that's all a program that we're building on as well. So you'll have much more communication directly with the public and with our membership. So our goal is to add thousands of new members in the next few months and through the year. And with the help of sponsorship for the NRA and, sort of co-sponsoring different events, we're very confident we're going to be able to do that. So that's probably the first leg of the stool that, we're developing at this point. Industry support is a second leg. And I would say third is a direct relationship with the NRA in terms of programs that are collectively beneficial to both organizations.
Excellent.
So we thank you very much for taking the time with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys joining me. And, well, you heard it here, folks. Make sure to go to usashooting.org and give them some money and help support our talented athletes, and make sure that America stays #1 in the medal count.